Check it out, the new images of the new electric hypercar by Pininfarina are coming out today from their launch in New York. I was invited myself, but unfortunately couldn't make it. I will definitely do it next time and report on location for you guys, but there are a few other pictures I'm going to tell you about, and there are quite a few exciting things I wanted to talk to you about. All of this is coming up next.
Taking over the world, electrifying the world,
Thank you to those of you who are watching me live on Patreon. Thank you for supporting the show. Of course, if you're watching me on YouTube, go ahead and click on that subscribe button so you don't miss anything moving forward, and that way you'll be up to date on everything that's going on in the world of electric cars, and because there's exciting stuff like this. So, but before that, I got even more exciting news to you guys. I am going to I just had the interview with the sitting U.S. Congressman, Peter Welch. He is the congressman who introduced the House bill to eliminate the 200,000 car limit for manufacturers like Tesla. As you know, Tesla just reached that limit. So I'm going to talk to him, well, I just did. I'm going to release that video for you guys tomorrow. That was pretty cool. So look for that video sometime tomorrow at noon Pacific time. And the weekend after that, something that I taped last night, really late at night, I was hanging out with Ryan McCarthy, who is the host of the Ride the Lightning podcast, the unofficial Tesla podcast. And I know I pronounced his name just wrong. I'm always having problems pronouncing the Irish names, but I will get better at it by next weekend for sure. Okay, so look for that. All right, back to Pininfarina now. The official name of the company is Automobili Pininfarina, and you're probably familiar with it because I featured an interview with their CEO a few weeks ago. You can definitely check it out. I'll put it in the description of this video. Michael Persky. So this is a company that's you probably, if you haven't heard about this company, their design company of cars like Ferrari, Alfa Romeo, Fiat, and many others. And now they're coming up with their own electric car. They just recently got bought by Mahindra Group. And this is the Hyper. I mean, this car is going to cost seven-digit type of a price tag on it. It's going to go 0 to 60 in less than 2 seconds, so definitely going to compete with the Tesla Roadster and Rimac. Rimac Concept 2 is an exciting hypercar that's coming out, if not this year, then next year. Definitely I've been featuring them a lot as well because they actually have a prototype of their car, and I featured it a few times. I will probably do an on-location report on them sometime in August, so that should be cool. But anyway, so that's kind of a type of cars that we're talking about here. They had their launch in New York. Here's another picture of another sketch of this car. It is going to be a good-looking car, and everybody expects it to be a really good-looking car because they're a design firm. So for Ferraris and other really cool cars. Yeah, I mean, also it's going to have over 300-mile range, which is pretty decent. I mean, I don't think you're going to be traveling in this car too far, though. Of course, Tesla Roadster second generation is going to have over 600 miles, which is like beyond impressive. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to this car. I mean, obviously that's not for someone like me or a lot of you who are watching. We just can't afford it. But it is exciting that this car is probably going to be by far better than many of the gas-powered hypercars. And so that's why I'm really excited about it. All right, let's move on to the next story. Before that, just wanted to make sure you are aware that this show is sponsored by Evanex, the aftermarket accessories for Tesla. There's a discount code in the description of this video, just in case if you want to shop there for your Tesla and save a few bucks, going into the weekend. All right, let's talk about back to Tesla. So Elon Musk was giving an interview to Bloomberg Newsweek, I believe, and there's some different quotes are coming out here and there. He is now basically saying that, this whole Model 3 ramp up that was really kind of a, push the company to, some people believe brink of bankruptcy, probably not, but definitely he is calling it betting the company on it. He believes this is the third time it happened. The first time was when they made the original Roadster, then the Model S. He doesn't consider Model X to be really like bet the company kind of a deal, which I would agree. But I would say this is the biggest one, obviously, that they had. Now, I'm not really sure if that's really true, because obviously Model Y is going to be coming up, and he believes, and I believe him, that that will be even bigger than a Model 3, and you have to build a factory and obviously design it and create assembly lines and ramp it up just like you did with the Model 3, again, plus the new factory. I hope he's right. I do think that the Model Y will still take a lot of resources and can really push the company once again into uncomfortable territory, if anything. But he's saying that in about a month, they'll be able to sustain easily the 5,000 cars per week production for the Model 3. Right now, he's saying they obviously have to put a lot of staff on it, but in about a month, he's saying they'll be all good, and they'll be ramping up to what he hopes 10,000 Model 3s per week sometime next year. So that's all good news for Tesla. All right, let's move on to my favorite part of the show, comment of the day. Well, first of all, let me once again thank you, a new Patreon. And I know, guys, there are quite a few of you. Some I'm just kind of putting it in the queue. If I really have the queue is going to be really long, I'll just maybe do a few a day. But today, I just want to say thank you to James Jackson, who became a Patreon. That's a great way to support this show. Of course, as you know, I am hoping to go full-time sometime next year. That's why I'm moving to Sacramento to kind of cut down on my bills, because I really want to do this full time. I can do so much more for you guys if this is my full-time job, even though it will it may not anyway. Thank you supporting. I probably shouldn't really go on, and I have a separate video for that. Okay, but for the comment of the day, this one comes from James, also same name, different person. Now, we were talking about how, this bill, which, again, let me remind you, I'm going to have the congressman himself, Peter Welch, on the show tomorrow, who introduced this bill, why the 200,000 vehicle cap on Tesla and Chevy and all manufacturers is going to hurt the manufacturers that are meeting that cap now. So James says, how is Tesla getting punished? All automakers get 200,000 vehicles for the tax credit, fair and square. Time has nothing to do with anything. I hope they extend the credit, but saying they are being punished makes no sense. Actually, I'll explain. It's very simple. And there are a few things that I wanted to mention about that. One is, whenever you're a company that you're breaking into a new technology, it will always cost you more money in terms of just how to do things, right? Tesla had to figure out how to do battery technologies, where companies that are getting into this now have, choice of doing their own, understanding what technology is, but also using suppliers. Tesla couldn't use a supplier. As a matter of fact, if you remember, the reason Fisker went belly up is because their only battery supplier that they used went belly up, and there were no others, and the whole company folded. So no, that is much easier to make electric cars now. Also, you don't have to convince consumers as much. Teslas are driving around, other cars are driving around that are fully electric. You don't have to convince people, at least many people now, to buy an electric car. So Tesla, Chevy, Nissan, all these companies who, took their time and an effort and money and risk, paved the way. Now that they're reaching 200,000 car limit, and companies like Toyota and Ford are just going to jump in while they were sitting on the sidelines, seeing how this whole thing plays out, seeing how this market is going to be convinced to like the electric cars. Now they're just going to come in, get the benefit of the credit, and while the companies like Tesla and Chevrolet and Nissan will have that credit phased out. So the companies that really were lazy and were sitting back are going to now get the benefit of the tax credit, while the companies who are taking and investing and taking risks are going to be punished, essentially. That's why I'm using the word punished, by having that tax credit phased out. Now, I understand you're saying everybody gets 200,000 cars, so it's fair. Well, the first 200,000 cars 5 years ago costs much more in money and risks and so forth than it would cost right now. So it is not just comparing numbers. It is definitely time, resources, marketing, and so forth that the difference is. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Of course, as you can see, feature all kinds of opinions, even if they don't necessarily agree with me. That's the whole point of this channel, to create a conversation. That's all I want to do, really. All right, guys, this is it for this week. Tomorrow, once again, interview with a Congressman Welch. Check it out. I think we had a good conversation. Of course, he will also tell you how you can help to keep the $7,500 tax credit here in the United States. So watch it tomorrow. Other than that, see you next time, and remember to stay charged.